But, Boris never showed any appetite for what you need to do to bring taxes down, to run a conservative economy. Margaret Thatcher would have been tearing her hair out watching the performance under Boris. So, yeah, of course it's tougher to win now. But I tell you what, I suspect that in Uxbridge, the election wouldn't have been about the government. It would have been about Boris. It would have been about telling the truth or not. It would have been about accepting the rules of Parliament or not. It would be what sort of practice it would have been. And that wouldn't have served him well.
What do you make? We had Paul Staines, a.k.a. Guido Fawkes, on earlier, and he was making the point that when Boris accused this of being a kangaroo court, that he said that Boris was onto something, because not only did you have the opposition MPs like Harriet Harman, who'd already said beforehand that Boris was in effect guilty before the committee had started its deliberations, but the Conservatives on the committee were also sort of vehemently anti-Boris, and that therefore he was never going to get a fair hearing from the people on the committee. What do you make of that?
Well, I pretty much challenge all of that. I mean, I think there are better ways of assessing how members of Parliament have behaved. But the truth is, Boris was happy for this procedure to be in place for everybody else. He didn't object to Harriet Harman being made chairman. He had an opportunity in Parliament. You both know that as well as me. The procedure allows for objection. He didn't do any of that. And also, in addition to this, Boris had hundreds of thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money paid on providing him with the most expensive lawyers in the land. Other people don't have that. He had actually a rather privileged appearance before this committee. But the truth of the matter is, ask around Parliament, ask most of the MPs. There's a small cabal who still believe in him. It's pretty small these days. But most people are fairly sure he misled the House. And he did so many, many times. And he did so knowing that these parties had occurred. After all, he'd been at some of them. And therefore it's hard to be at a party and not know it's a party. So he had all the chances you could normally have, more than I would have, more than you would have in front of that committee. The government or the taxpayer wouldn't pay your expenses, Philip, if you were called up before the committee, wouldn't pay mine, but they paid his to the tune of hundreds of thousands of pounds. So I hardly think that's unfair treatment.